No, it's looking promising. Turn the big light off. So I suppose for people who come to this a bit later, you know, folk who watch other than live, I'm looking for my e-cigarette. This is our regular Friday night having a chat about games. How's that? I've got lights off, got a light on, shut the door. I've gone for a darker ambience. I'm going to try some different colours. Hang on. Right, you ready? So that's green. What's that? Blue. I don't like that. It's a bit foreboding. Red. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! No, we don't have that. White. I don't know. Don't know what I think to that. Well, it's not white. It's white and green. Hang on. What's that? That's quite warm, isn't it? Go on. I'm going to stick with that. And somebody who responds to me, you can say, "Ah, no, Gaylord, turn it off." Yeah. So, as I say, preamble. If no one's here at the moment, Friday night. If you're tuning in and you think, "What's that all about?" Well, it's tended to be. Originally, it was going to be a bit almost like a podcast because I didn't know what I was doing. Having said that, if you watch my videos stuff, I never know what I'm doing, so no change there. And I didn't really understand the implications of going live, so I scripted it. 10 minutes of this, 15 minutes of that, and blah, 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 blah. But then as people started to say hello and join me, it became more of a folk who knew each other, and we got to know each other better and better, chatting about the week and what games they were doing and saying hello and that sort of stuff. So when people start appearing, I'll talk to them. And if you think, hang on a minute, he's not talking to me, well, come say hello. Then I will. And we meet every Friday at 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And we do it for an hour. And I do it because my wife likes watching Coronation Street and I can't stand it. And it lasts for an hour. So as I hear the end music of Coronation Street come on, I know to say ta-ta to you and go downstairs and continue as a good family man, as you should, you know. So that's what we're doing. If you fancy joining us, that's great. If you're watching these sort of retrospectively, I've decided, while no one's here now, I'll go back to the old format of a sort of scripted something to say, so that if you just watch it, it'll be like watching the ordinary videos, but live for a bit longer. Does that make sense? So, this week is how I'm going to start, retrospectively this week. Premises-wise, because that's important, I started off sort of end of August, deciding to completely reorganise the studio and the wargames rooms. I've got two. I've got a garage. I don't drive with Parkinson, so it's empty. So that's a big wargames room. I've got an 8-foot by 4-foot table in there, and all my figures and scenery and everything. That's all stashed away and ordered. It's not as ordered at the moment as it should be, but that's another tale. And then I've got this room, which is It's got a 4x3 wargames table in it. I've got all my wargames books. I've got my work desk. I've got all my paint and brushes and whatever. And I've got all the audio visual equipment, and I've got my writing area. So this is sort of like the sort of nerve center, if you like. And the plan was that I would have it ready to open for Halloween, but stuff happened. And it happens in a strange way. I'd ordered like neon sign and things with Galen's got Parkinson's written on it, and it got lost in the post, and then it didn't happen, and so I got a refund. So, but before I had a chance to reorder it, we learned that we are, I don't know how possibilities work, but we're more than likely moving premises. Solicitors are dealing with the legal side. Finances are all in place. We've got the property. Somebody actually put a time scale of about 110 days on it. I don't know what's going to happen. It's not 100%. And until things are 100%, I'm loath to say that's happening. But we'll see. So that meant everything's up in arms, and we're all over the place now. So instead of my wargames room being a table, it's now an 8 foot by 4 foot receptacle for all the boxes that are now starting to move into there prior to going to the new place, which is about 14 miles away, to be put into the new space, which is different. So we're all over the place. So that happened. So that's taken up a lot of time, a lot of legal time, a lot of admin time, so on. Gaming. When I started, my plan was just to be like a wargames club. For those of you who don't know and haven't been on the journey from the start, which is the majority of you, in it logically, I'm 70. That's Rolo if you were the dog. I'm 70. I am a wargamer. I've been since the 60s. I have been in formal wargames clubs since 1972. Wargame is my life. So I've acquired all amounts of knowledge. I'm interested in any sort of wargaming you can name, even down to playing XCOM on my Xbox. It doesn't matter. I'm not proud. I am also, just for declaring my other interests, I'm a musician. I'm in a band called Witchwood. We've got a couple of albums. One of them is on things like Amazon. It's on everything apart from Spotify. So if you want to find us, you can find us. If I said, I'm not going to do it because she's mouthy, but if I said, Alexa, play one of my tracks, it'll pop up. And we're in Bandcamp if you want to have a look. There's a lot of freebies if you like to have a listen. We're on YouTube, funnily enough. So I do that. I've done that for yonks. And I was a teacher professionally. That's pretty much everything you need to know, I think. Hang on.
This is a reminder. Dried frog pills. This is a reminder. Dried frog pills.
Now, the relevance of that is I have Parkinson's disease and I take dopamine every 3 hours. Because apparently when you've got Parkinson's, I don't know if you know, but your dopamine levels fall. After 3 hours, I take a pill and it goes back up again. And then at night when I'm going to bed, because I'm not going to say when everything else, I take what they call slow release dopamine, and that tops me up through the night. So back in March, April, I was sat at my workbench and I was painting figures, and I was writing rules and having campaigns and so on. And I thought to myself, you know what? Oh, I was listening to 70s music, and I sort of decided when I got Parkinson's, I'm not going to cry about it. I'm going to fight it off, nanas to it. That's the best thing you can do. So I'm sat there, I'm going back to the 70s. I've got my joysticks burning, I've got my posters from the 70s, I've got 70s music on, and I thought, all right, okay. And I thought, you know what? I bet there's a load of other poor beggars like me who either, can't do their hobbies anymore because of wobbly hands, or feel sometimes maybe a bit isolated. I don't. I'm in a war games club. I've got good mates. I've got a good family. I don't feel isolated. Don't get me wrong. And certainly never, ever, ever feel sorry. If you feel sorry for me, I'm going to cry about it. So don't do that. And I'm not on a journey. It's not me on a journey of discovery. My worry about going on a journey is at the end, I might find myself, might turn out I'm horrible, so I'm better not going. And I think Billy Connolly said, never travel anywhere with an idiot, because you can always pick one up when you get there. So, so that's where I was at, really. And I thought, you know what, I wonder. Actually, I don't know why I thought this, but I sort of thought, I ended up making a YouTube video. I don't know why. I've never done that before. So I looked on some YouTube stuff, because I do look at YouTube stuff, and I did before. Now to make a YouTube video, and they said you can do it on your phone. Just do it on your phone. So okay, I've got a phone. So I stuck my phone on end like that, and I filmed myself. The first one was horrible, so I abandoned that. Even though I promised I wouldn't. I said, no, whatever happens, I'm publishing. Publishing be damned, like Oliver Cromwell. But I didn't do that. I filmed it again, and I published that. And I couldn't work out why it was dead thin. And about 6 videos later, by accident, I put my phone on its side, and all of a sudden, it weren't thin anymore. It were long. And then I started to get subscribers, which surprised me a bit. And originally, I thought if I got 10 subscribers, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Just 10 people. My war games club, my group of wargaming mates, probably max a dozen, perhaps 15. There's more than that at the club, but in my group. So I thought, well, if I got like 10, I'd be like a little war games club. That'd be nice. That was the plan. And it got to 10, and then it got to 20. And then it sort of got to 40, 48. I remember it sort of stuck on 48 for quite a while. Because I know it's 48 because I wanted to go live. And to go live on my phone, I needed 50. And I actually put out a request, help me, let's get to 50. And it turns out I'd misread it, 50 weren't enough. But that's when I went on here using the laptop. And then it sort of moved along steady, and I made new friends, and people then started to talk about some of the videos I did. Like, for example, I opened a box of old figures I've not looked in since the 80s, and they were all figures from the 70s, Citadel and Hinchcliffe and Miniature Figurines Fantasy. And I showed them to people on here. And suddenly it went from 48 to 60, 70, 75. And people said, show us more of them. I thought, oh, That wasn't my plan. So that took me by surprise. But I plodded on. So yeah, so I plodded on. And then I thought, well, people started asking for specific things. And I looked at Dungeons and Dragons, a game called The Tomb of Horrors from 1978. And before I knew where I was, like within a week, I was up to 100 subscribers, which is, as we sit here now, 14th of November 2025, is where I'm at. I wanted 100 subscribers by New Year's Eve. So I'm ahead of that target. Now, I thought, well, Neil, sorry, mate. I don't know how long I've been rambling on like that. I didn't notice you. I was looking up the top for you, and you weren't there. How are you doing, pal? Eric says he can't come tonight. He's got a note off his mum. So you can't play out. What you been doing? We've been. How are your 7th Cavalry coming along? It's a sickener, man. Sorry about that. Not that me saying sorry helps, does it? Have you got anything you do manage to do? Watch stuff or read things? Or sit in a dark room sobbing? One of the guys who I wargame with at the club has got diabetes. So to be honest. Excellent. Excellent. But look good. How pleased. 25 mil? 20 mil? If you feel like crap and you just want me to talk cobblers and say something every now and again, I'm quite happy to. I'm quite happy just to sit and talk to you, dude. Oh, Brill. What mate were they? I do 28mm. To be honest, the best ones are Perry's that I've got. I have a lot of Warlord. I do the Sudan Mahdists. Most of them, like where there's lots and lots of Mahdists, they're all the Ansar and people. They're all Warlord, but the best ones are Perry's. Yeah, I like Perry's. I haven't got any Empress miniatures. I've got some I bought. I think I bought them at the Armories. When is it still called the Triples? It used to be when I lived up there. God, I'm talking years ago. There was the big war games fair. Used to be at the Crucible in Sheffield, the Triples, and then it moved to the Armories. I don't even know if they still do it. And I bought them up there. And what are they called? I want to say Ironclad, but I don't think it was. They didn't make a lot of anything. They made 4 different British colonials. Have you got any? Yeah, I sort of had a feeling it was. I've not been for. Oh, I haven't been up to see my brother in Rotherham for about 3 years. So it's definitely 4 years since I've been, if it's not longer. But I know it was at the Armories the last time I went, because it was like free admission to the Armories and the War Games fair and everything else. So it was like a big do, and his 2 sons are both wargamers. So we got to make a little party of us. It was grand. And then I stayed up there, and I went to my mum's in a residential home in Rotherham, so I got to see my mum as well. That sounds really bad, doesn't it? I went to buy some War Games figures. Oh, by the way, I saw my mum. That's pretty much my life. I do World War II. I do Battle of the Bulge. So mine are 20mm, because I started off. I didn't do them because I had any particular love of World War II. I did them because I've never done anything with winter scenery. And I also wanted to be able to go into town and come home with a plastic bag from the shops with some soldiers in, rather than have to buy them on the internet, like I did when I was a kid. So where I live, there's a games workshop. There's a model shop that's been going since the 60s, a place called Ewing's. They do everything: Airfix kits, Tamiya, Italeri, everything. And there's a couple of model railway shops. So you could have, a shop sells graphic novels, which I like. So I could get off the bus, I could wander all around the shops, go and have something to eat, and then plan what I was going to buy. And then on my way back, I could buy all the things I wanted. So it was like a nice way out. But yeah, that was all good. Something just appeared in the top of my screen. I don't know what it is. I'm not clicking it. After my recent 3 weeks of catastrophes, since last week, I've not unplugged anything. All right. We keep talking about going to Fiasco. It's one of them sort of bucket list things. Down here we have Plymouth, which is PAW, it's called, which is Plymouth Association of Wargamers, and that's in February. And then we go to Exeter, which is our nearest city. We have been to Reading, but it turned out to be a bit far. And we went to quite a little teeny weeny one in Bristol, and it turned out to be brilliant. It was like in a house. It was like every different room in the house was stuff, paint, and soldiers, but some of the bargains were amazing. We thought, well, Bristol's a couple of hours away, but we on the off chance it's any good, we'll have a wander up. Thing about going to Fiasco, if I go north of Birmingham, it starts to be a bit of a trek. It takes me about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to Exeter, and then probably 3 hours to get to Sheffield on the train. I'm looking at sort of 5 hours really, with all the changes and all the waiting and all the faffing about. And if I was just going to Fiasco and then coming home again, I'd have to set off at stupid o'clock, and then I'd have to leave earlier than I really would like. The alternative would be that I stayed up there, which I could do, but sort of, it's not that easy, is it? Well, that's the thing, yeah. I've got to gritty teeth, gritty teeth. But yeah, I was watching a young woman who'd been a painter at Games Workshop. I can't remember her site. I've got her. I put her on my subscriptions, and she gets old figures like squats and Space Marines, but she paints them dead trendy. She converted an 80s squat. She gave him a surfboard, painted him in a Hawaiian shirt. She's amazing. And she was on about the Warhammer type painting shows and what fun they are. And I'd never really thought about it because I'm not a Warhammer person, but they looked really quite appealing, to be honest. And Foundry are up there, aren't they? We don't have anything down here. There's nothing. There's no, I can't think of anything. There's nothing. There's no original companies that make figures. There's no scenery makers. When I used to live in Rochdale, and we used to go to St Helens, Wartorn, we used to go to Scarborough, Phalanx was it called? I think one of them was Wartorn and one was Phalanx. And there were companies who'd not come far, like Adrian's Walls or Two Fat Lardies. We don't get any Callistra. We don't get any of those people down here because it's too far. It's not worth the effort. So the conventions and fairs we have tend to be a bit samey. There's always some shop selling Warlord, but we don't get anything. We don't get the Peter Pigs of this world or Star Grunts. Oh, we did actually. Last time I went to Exeter, they had Ground Zero, isn't it? Who do Full Thrust and Star Grunts and all them. They were here. But it's a lot of it is kits and a lot of it is paint and a lot of it is scenery. But as regards finding figures, it really is few and far between, which is a shame because I like that. There are a lot of good people down here making dioramas. I tell you who's good at making dioramas, the Army. I live really near a Marines base, and the Marines have a War Games club. And the Marine, the actual military, throw money at them like it's going out of fashion. anything they want, they get. Paynton War Games Club are all lads who were in the RAF together. When they're in the RAF, anything they ask for, they got. If it's like R&R, stay on site, and we'll go. Yeah, it's rubbish, isn't it? I know. I don't know. I don't like the internet. I like to see what I'm getting. Yeah, the Marines had everything, all this stuff, and the Air Force. And when these lads left the Air Force, because they all retired, they took everything with them, and they set up a War Games Club with all their stuff. But if you go, last time I went to Plymouth War Games, the Marines had built the most extravagant diorama of it was muskets and tomahawks, but it was like an 8 foot by 6 foot table, and there were people trapping beavers and Indians paddling up canoes, and it was just stunning, realistic water, and wow. And then next year they'll have another diorama, because that's what they do. They don't have war games like we do. They make stuff. They made one, it was like a fleet action, and these huge ships, I mean, they were massive. So full-size models of the Victory for 28 mil crew. I've never seen anything like. Last time I went to Doncaster, and I'm talking now years, the stamp corner was still open. Is it still open? But it was up towards Christchurch. It wasn't where it used to be. It was, and when I went in, and the people were just behind the deck. I could only see them from like that. And there was some. You couldn't turn anything round because everything was bumping onto everything else. And I found some robots from Battletech, and they must have been there since they were new, yonks ago, all covered in dust. That was fantastic. But yeah, so I went to the last time I went to the stamp corner. It's within living memory. It's not that long ago, but it's longer than I probably care to remember. I've been living down here 13 years now, so it's about that. Because when I used to work, I can't remember where anywhere it's called now in Doncaster. I left Doncaster in 75. I used to work as a Saturday job at a tailor's, March the Tailors, and they were. How can I explain where they were? You went, so you went there, then you went there. You came. I used to get off the bus at Christchurch because I came from Edenthorpe, and I used to walk down into town past. It used to be the pancake parlour on the left, pretty not now, and then into town, and then we turned a corner. Was it perhaps towards the Odeon Cinema, because there was the Gormont at the top, the Odeon in the middle. And then there was a side street. When you went down the side street, there was March the Tailors, and then there was like a square. And in the middle of the square was the stamp corner. And then you went out the other end to the market. I think you went to the market. That was a tragedy. Last time I went to the market, there was one bloke on a soapbox talking about God. Nothing. When I was a kid, the market was thriving. That's something else I noticed that still existed. The pancake parlour. When I was a kid, my grandma used to take me to the market, and we used to go in the pancake parlour. No, not the pancake parlour. The Minerva little cafe. I used to have Madeira cake because my granddad always made a joke about having Minerva cake at the Madeira instead of, yeah, so that was the stamp corner, and he sold stamps and coins. And then at the War Games Club, there's a lad called Murray, and Murray started to work downstairs in the cellar of the stamp corner. And because he went to the War Games Club, we used to say to him on a Friday at Elmfield House, I'm collecting 25mm Hinchcliffe, Napoleonic, whatever, Prussians I used to have. And he would get whoever owned the stamp corner to buy 20 of the Prussians that you wanted. And then on a Wednesday, when I got my pocket money, my mum used to go into the stamp corner without a clue what I wanted. And she'd go downstairs and she'd say to the people in the stamp corner, our Galen wants his Prussians. She'd give them £1 and they'd give her 4 Prussians. And I'd come home, paint them, and then by the following week I'd ask for another 4. And that was, and then you'd order something else. But they sort of stopped in what you asked for. So we'd all have go to Elmfield House on a Friday and give Murray big long shopping lists of what we wanted. You know, there were happy days. There was actually a War Games fair at Elmfield House, which I didn't get to because it was on a Saturday. I'm going to say 74, 73, 74, 75. It was one of them. And I was working at Master Taylor's and I couldn't get. My mate went and I had a big order of miniature figurines, elves, that he went and got for me. My mate Andy. But the stamp corner were great because I used to, Master Taylor's door was here, and the stamp corner door was here. So I used to get paid about 4 o'clock on a Saturday, and I used to go spend all my money that what I weren't giving my mum and dad. I get my figures and I come home again with a big bag of soldiers and no money. Then I'd realise I needed money for something during the week, but I spent it all. I'd run out of paint. Hey, I tell you what, they were happy days. And then life got complicated because then I got girlfriends. Then I needed to buy records. I needed to buy Band on the Run by Wings or whatever, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. And that cost more money than I was getting for soldiers. And it all went wrong. Just when it all went pear-shaped at that point. Because we didn't have stuff like, I don't know, well, if I said to Alexa, play whatever, I daren't say it because she will. If I said to Alexa, play Led Zeppelin or play Wishbone Ash, she does it. I don't have to go to the shop and buy it. I wonder if one day in the future we'll do that and I will have to sort of pay forward somehow. But there'll be like maybe, I don't know, 3D printer in the ceiling. And you say, Alexa, print me some Arnhem 20mm paratroopers. And it goes overnight. When you wake up in the morning, they're all done for you. And you got a little robot. The little robot could come in. You could call it something exciting. I don't know what you call it. Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, get them painted. And in the morning, it'd be 3D printed by your mystical printer. And your robot would paint them. That's the dog coming in. Hi, Rolo. Say hello to Neil. No, you're going out again now, are you? Very good. Okay. Bratward prefect counter. Right, he came into it. He heard me yabbiting on and I thought, I better stop him. Neil's phone social services. It's not going to be long before he gets taken away. Hang on, I'm going to shut door because that light's annoying me. There we go. It's a bit. Really, to be honest, mate, just trying to make you feel better. I'm failing miserably at it. How's that? I'll straighten you up. I'm shutting up for a bit in case you want to say something. You might not. I don't want you to think you've got to join in, but equally, I might be stopping you joining in. I don't know. Are you much of a music listener? Do you have a type of music you listen to, or does listening to music help when you're not feeling so well? I have a reason for asking that, which I'll come to. I'm going to write something. Oh, not press the right button. That weren't clever. I bet there's some way that we could do live streaming where we could actually talk physically to each other. You might know what it is. I don't. I'll look into that actually. Because it'd be nice, wouldn't it, if instead of having to type, we just could talk. I've got some headphones with a microphone. And when I was before you started appearing not regular, I was just me and Eric really. I sort of we tried it, but nothing happened. Well, I don't know whether that were because we were thick or because we pressed the wrong button. But I'm sure there must be some way of doing it. Because you can hear me, presumably. Otherwise, this is a total washout. No, you can hear me, can't you? Because you keep responding. I've been looking at. It certainly was. Yeah, it was brilliant. And you'd be full of people you knew. That was the other thing I miss about those days. You know, you go into whatever time of day you went in Stamp Corner, whatever day of the week, and you went downstairs, there were wargamers in there. It was, I suppose it's in it. You don't know what you've got till it's gone. To quote Joni Mitchell. Yeah, and youngsters today, I don't think they get it, do they? I've been doing some stuff about early games. Why we use the dice we use. When did D20s get invented? And I was looking at Stargard, one of the earliest sci-fi game, 71. And in that, they don't even give you ranges and distances. They just say things like line infantry, medium infantry, slower than line infantry, light infantry, faster. And the gamers made their own, how far are we going to move then? And everyone had to have a chat and agree. Rangers, short, medium, and long, but it didn't tell you what they were. It just said, throw dice. What dice? How far is that? But everything now it's got to be a book, hasn't it? I'll buy a big thick book worth 40 quid, most of which is just fancy pictures that have nothing to do with the flipping game in a hard cover. And then just as you think you've got the game sorted, they bring out a different range, don't they? They stop making it, abandon it completely. So, no. we're lucky down here. I don't know what your situation is. I'd be interested to hear about it, mate. But we get together. There are lots of clubs around and a lot of gamers around, and we started it this January. Actually, we've talked about it for a while, and the fourth Sunday of a month, we all get together in a local hall, which we pool together to hire. Comes to about 5-6 quid each. Certainly cheaper than going to see the Rovers. And we get there about 11 in the morning, and we war game till about 6-7 o'clock at night. And different people bring different games. Last time we did Pirates. Time before we did Marlborough. Time before we did English Civil War. Oh, we did 8th Army Africa Corps in between all that. And then next time, which is I think a week on Sunday, we're doing World War One in East Africa. One of the lads enjoys doing that. Someone else wants to do the 100 Years' War. I don't know what game exactly, but 100 Years' War by definition is 100 years, isn't it? So who knows? But he's got medieval troops. So we all get together and we're like six aside. And whoever's running the game knows the game, umpires it, and you can have a commander in chief, and you can have smaller groups with specific orders, and like if you were doing it, like I don't know if Arnhem would be, but just general airborne thing, you might be a captain or a lieutenant with a glider or two and a specific objective, because we put all the tables together. It's massive. It's like 32 foot by 8. It's vast, this thing. So if your gliders went overshot and went way over there somewhere, the main army might be way over there somewhere, and you might be stuck waiting for them while they're trying to get to where you want to be. And it makes the game really exciting, and it's great fun. And because we're all such different gamers, and we only get together once a month, we spend a lot of time laughing and brewing up, and generally just getting together and being us, to be honest. Do you have any sort of club or what to war game with, or group of mates, or a mate? Are you or do you end up stuck on your Todd, hang on your own a lot? Or shouldn't I ask? Mind your own bloody business, scale. What do you think you are? Sorry, Bob. Whoa, sorry. just an off. This is just an off. Thinking about, saying you didn't feel like doing stuff and you're a bit fed up and diabetes annoying you and things. I've just written down, and you can quickly forget it. It's not hard. I've written down the name of my band and the album, and it's on YouTube. Hopefully, all right. Yeah, is that quite a way for you, Wakefield? Just trying to think. I suppose it's not that far, is it? I don't drive anymore, but I'm guessing Wakefield's doable. And my brother goes to Rotherham. He enjoys going to the club at Rotherham. They're playing Pillage at the moment as the main game. I don't know how far away they are from you, and I don't know when they meet. And now I've said Rotherham, it could just as easily be Sheffield. But if you wanted, I could find out for you and let you know. Yeah, I was just saying, I'm going to send you this if you're interested. It's just the band I'm in and the name of the album, and it's on YouTube. And if you ever think, I don't know what to do, you could have a listen. It might make you laugh. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not pretending it's good, but it's me and it's out there. So I'm putting that on now, and I'm going to shut up about it. I'm saying that I can't press the button. There we go. Yeah. Well, like I say, if you ever thought, yeah, I'll give it a go, but you don't know anybody, or that's an issue, or whatever, I could always get more details for you if you wanted. But like I said, I'll leave it up to you. And I'm not. I think it's the sort of place where you don't have to be like not religiously go, but I know he's enjoying it, and he's struggled for a while to find somewhere, and to find somewhere convenient because his work is a bit vocational, takes up all his time, never gets to switch off sort of job. He's younger than me. How old is he? 53, our Alan. So he's old. He's young. He's a lot younger than me. 15 years younger than me. But he's right enjoying it. He was saying they like playing Pillage because it reminds him of games years ago when folk weren't so picky and games were a laugh and folk made their own rules up and added their own funny little bits to things. It's dark ages. But like I say, I don't, certainly with my brother, if you introduce yourself to him, he'll play anything, and he's got whatever you want to play, he can play it. And he's got masses of stuff of every genre imaginable. I'm going to say it in a minute, but I'm going to write it down first, just so I'll get it right. What am I doing? Hang on. I've got to click that first. Oh, the chairs and stuff. So that's the album, and then the band is called Witchwood. And we're on things like, well, to be honest, we're on everything except Spotify. All right, Neil. Hey, look after yourself. I hope you feel a bit better soon, pal. And I'll talk to you when you feel better. Don't feel you've got to be obliged to me for anything. I'll be thinking about you. Ta-ra, man. See you later. And that, for those of you who caught Neil and I having a chat, I'm guessing you can see what we talked about. It's what Friday night is all about. Mates getting together. It'd be nice if we could get together physically, but we can't because he's way up north and I'm way down south. And some of our regular contributors aren't even in this country. They aren't even in this continent or on this continent. That might be a better way of saying it. But it's a way to get together, which is nice. It's nice to share games and, maybe, I don't know, have a chance to say things to each other as gamers that we don't get to say anywhere else. Mainly because no one wants to listen. Manky old men rambling on. So I started off by talking about plans for the future. So my immediate plan for the coming week is to move away from filming everything on my phone. I think after April, May, June, July, August, September, October, 7 months of using the phone, it's got limitations. The editing has got limitations. Yeah, it's convenient and all that. But I think I've got into a bad habit with it. And so I'm going to try. At the moment, I've got a camera charging down here. Can't even see it. No, it's still not charged. And the theory is that when it's charged, if it's charged, I'm going to start using that. And I can always fall back on the phone, can't I? Not literally. Although with Parkinson's, you never know when you're going to fall back on something. But I can always sort of, in an emergency, and go back to the phone. And we'll see. I've got the editing stuff all set up on the computer. The other problem I've got is how do I get the stuff I film on a camera onto my computer? Because I don't know. I had a mate come round who's a professional photographer, and he got all my cameras and all my bits, everything I've got, and he put that in there and this in here, and so that worked. That's how you do that. And the moment he walked out, before he got to his car, I'd forgotten. It went off. Literally went. I mean, I learned things for YouTube. Like I learned the other day how to put end cards on. Something I should have been doing for yonks, but I wasn't. So I put end cards on. But if I don't do it every day, I forget. Because I'm old. I'm old and I'm manky. So, the coming week, it's going to be quite a bit of sci-fi stuff now. I'm going to do a war game and film a war game using 70s figures. Now, here I have a debate with myself because I could use 70s figures and use exactly the sort of stuff we used in the 70s scenery, which, to be honest, is Lego. Or I could use 70s figures and my more modern scenery for a more modern game. I could use the old rules and everything, but more modern scenery. And better still, because my 70s sci-fi is very two-dimensional. I've got my Seon pinheads, who are infantry units. Well, they are several infantry units with some artillery. But they fire like gas, like mortars that fire gas. And I've got two different units of enemy, who again are infantry, medium infantry and heavy infantry. But I don't have anything else. But from the 80s, I have other things. So I've got a Space Marine. I've got some robots. What were they from? I can't remember what they were from. They're very naive looking things. They're from a game. I don't know what they were from. It'll come to me in a minute. So I could pop them on and that'd give me the robot aspect of the game. But I didn't have them in the 70s. So the purist in me thinks I should play the game as it looked in 71, 72. Then play a different game, adding these other dimensions. Because if I had robots, and if I had savages, and if I had alien monsters, I could explain different facets of the Starguard rules, which I can't do to you because I haven't got the men. So I need to think about that, really. And then I'm going to go into the 80s and I'm going to start looking at my Citadel figures, war games workshop 40k type figures, and looking at how they've progressed since my earliest ones. I think my earliest one, Eric told me, was second edition Space Marines. But that's because I described it to him, and that's what he thought it was. We don't know. And then my squats are later than that. My squats are later than that. They're probably, trying to think, they've got to be later than 88 and earlier than 93. And I know that because I had them when I was teaching in Burnley. And I wasn't at the school until 88, and I moved on in 93. So it has to be in that little period there, my squats. But I've also got sort of random goblins and orcs, bits and bobs, who've come from all over the place. I've no idea what they are. I know they're Warhammer. But I'm guessing they're a lot later. But we'll see. They might not even be Warhammer. There might be some rip-off thing, mightn't they? So that's pretty much where I'm going. I'm going to work on the camera. I'm going to do lots of sci-fi. And I'll be here next Friday at 8 p.m. for an hour. I hope everything treats you well. I hope you have a great week wargaming. And for those of you who are regular viewers will know, I'm going to say, ta-ra, Chuck.